What's going on? YouTube Metal Complex here, and today I have a truly special custom knife overview to do with you guys. This is the Jason Clark Custom Mini Spanish Tip Razor. This is a beautiful knife, one that I have been excited to talk about for a long time on the channel. I want to point out that recently I talked about changing the lighting a little bit, and we're still going to see some pre-recorded episodes this week that had the old lighting, but this knife actually was part of the reason for that change. The lights were so bright in here that things like this Damascus bolster here, I wasn't properly able to show their full beauty. And now that I've changed the lighting, I've dimmed it down a little bit, I'm hoping that those types of features are better accentuated. Anyways, like my other videos on custom knives, this is not going to be a full review. It's more so going to be an overview. Why? Because custom knives are just really expensive, and that alone makes them not things that I can recommend to everybody. So for those of you who can afford custom knives, you may really enjoy this. This might, hopefully help you make a purchasing decision. But for everybody else, including me, this is really just this is really just entertainment. This knife was provided for overview by my good buddy Jeff Goodnow, which I think I have. Do I have a card for him? I don't. Jeff, you don't have your own card. Sorry. I need to make you one. Follow him at GoodNowJeff on Instagram. Absolutely. If you guys have been enjoying my content for a while, or you're brand new, either way, I do, of course, have a Patreon where you can go and get yourself a cool Metal Complex logo sticker or Metal Knight helmet sticker. There's also once a week Patreon exclusive content that you can gain access to even at the lowest tier. So if you'd like to check that out, and at the same time get yourself a shout out if you'd like me to plug your Instagram, your YouTube, or if you want me to just say something funny, that's fine. As long as it's appropriate for YouTube, I have no problem. The support would mean the world to me. You can follow the link down in the description if you'd like to check it out. Anyways, let's go ahead and get a measurement on this guy. There's my tape measure there. So this is a mini Spanish tip razor. I'll let you guys take a look at the card here real quick. You can see it says mini Spanish tip razor. Configuration says FL. I'll be honest, I don't know what that means. You can see the ladder Damascus for the blade at 60 Rockwell. Liner and frame is stonewashed tie. Bolster, they call it BLK Damascus. We'll take a look at that here in a sec. Fat carbon fiber, that absolutely makes sense to me. But just so you guys can take a look at the card there. The overall length of the mini, implying that there is a larger one, 7 inches exactly. We're coming in on the blade length at just shy of 3 1/4. The actual cutting edge is about 2.75 inches. So I would call this a medium-sized knife. Let's do some size comparisons here. Up against the Ontario Rat Model 1. Rat 1 is coming in at 8.6 inches overall, so you can see there. Not so much taller or bigger, or I'm sorry, it is tall. It is about the same size and height. I'm getting my words messed up. Same type of height and body, just not nearly as long. How about up against the Spyderco PM2? PM2 is coming in at 8.3 inches overall, still quite a bit bigger there. How about up against the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue? Ritter Hogue coming in at 8 inches overall. For whatever reason, in hand, the mini Spanish tip really feels the same size as the Griptilian, but the Griptilian is still like an inch longer. It's probably because of the presence, all of the crazy exotic materials and things, that the knife seems so much bigger in presence, I guess, if that makes sense. How about up against the Benchmade Bug Out? I think this is a great size comparison. 7.5 inches overall in the Benchmade Bug Out. Though I will point out the Jason Clark is definitely thicker. And last but not least, the Spyderco Para 3. Spyderco Para 3 coming in just a little bit longer at 7 1/4 inches. Surprisingly, my best size comparison there. In terms of thickness, we just talked about that. This knife is a little bit thicker than the Para 3. In terms of carry profile, we are looking at a reasonable carry profile, absolutely, especially considering the style of blade that this is, sometimes causing an issue in the pocket. You can see up against two knives that have awkward carry profiles, the Spyderco PM2 and Para 3. It's not really taking up, it's actually taking up substantially less room in terms of height, and like I said, it's just a little bit thicker than the Para 3. So for any of you who are actually considering carrying a knife like this, it's really not going to cause that much of an issue in your pocket. Let's go ahead and weigh this. Like I said, what we're looking at here is fairly thick. In fact, let's go ahead and measure the blade thickness here real quick. Fairly thick on the blade. Just trying to zero that out so that we get an accurate reading. Of course, tape there to protect the blade. 150 thousandths or so, and then you're looking at a Damascus bolster. You're looking at this fat carbon fiber and then titanium underneath for the liners that has not been milled out. So there's some pretty substantial material here, definitely. Coming in under 5 ounces. Honestly, I'm a little shocked by that. I thought for sure it would be over 5 ounces. This is going to be a little heavy for some people, but there's a lot of elements of this knife that are just going to be reasons that they wouldn't carry it. I would say, if I were somebody who was going to carry a knife of this caliber that was this expensive and this, unique, then 4.83 ounces at this size is not something that is going to cause me to shy away. Don't have a problem with that. So, anyways, moving on here. How's the action? Well, it runs on bearings, and it's fantastic. The flipping action is great. The detent is tuned very well. You can see here how we've got this unobtrusive flipper tab with, it looks like a meat tenderizer on the end, and you might think, wouldn't that cause an issue with your fingers over time? No, truthfully, it doesn't. It really feels good if you're, if you want to push button it, or if you want to do more of a light switch, you can do it that way too. But yeah, the detent's really great. It's very, very smooth, and just a little bit of encouragement causes it to fall all the way. I would imagine over time it's actually going to fall completely shut. Let's take a look at this awesome, awesome blade shape. This blade shape is so cool. This sort of Spanish tip, you can see it sort of curves this way and curves this way. There is actually a flat. You can see there the flat carries all the way out, 100% the length of the blade. This is not a blade shape that you're going to be needing to be concerned with in terms of strength. I want to put it up against the Gerber flat iron here, which is just funny to me. I really find this blade shape attractive. The Gerber flat iron is similar, except that at the end it looks similar, but here we have this sort of curvature, and it has this this menacing look about it. Something that I talked with, that word menacing. If you guys haven't checked it out, I just did my interview with Bob over at the Knife Junkie podcast. You can check that out on their YouTube channel or at their website. Really, really great guy. I really enjoyed talking with him and just going back and forth with another knife guy. That was just so much fun. But anyways, this style of blade has the perfect blend of utility and just being menacing in a cool way. And that mixed with this amazing, I guess according to the card, the ladder Damascus is just unreal. This is one of the coolest blades that I have ever seen, and it was executed flawlessly. Look at these lines. Is that not just beauty beyond beauty? Take a look at the spine here. You can see all the layers in there. It's just wonderful. I really like how this looks. Obviously executed flawlessly. It cuts very, very sharp at the edge. You can see how that is ground right there. Just beautiful. Now, this obviously is a polarizing blade shape. It's not going to be for everybody. You are limited in terms of tasks that would require more of a puncture tip. In terms of getting into a package, however, you're going to be just fine. You can use that corner right there. The advantage is, in my opinion, strength. I mean, there's nothing to break. I would imagine what you'd have to be doing with this knife to cause any real significant damage to the blade would just be beyond anything that you should ever be asking from a folding knife anyway. You do have a nice little area right here where you can choke up, and it feels very comfortable resting your thumb back here on the back of this spine. I really like that. There is no jimping on the spine of the blade. I don't know that I really care all that much considering the classification this knife is in. Excuse me, I'm continuously wiping my fingerprints off of this bolster here. Let's take a look at this bolster. This beautiful, what they call it is, yeah, it says black Damascus. Is that what it says? Yeah. In any case, it's very beautiful. In fact, so in my lighting, we're getting, I'm sure it does look vibrant, but it's actually still even a little bit subdued. In some light, I've taken this upstairs in like natural sunlight. This is so vibrant and it's almost seems like it glows. Like it's like I'm gonna get sick from being around it. And in a good way. it's very, very luminescent. You can see how beautiful this is. What you're seeing here is a subdued red, orange, green, purple, yellow, blue. I mean, it's very beautiful. It's also slightly contoured and incredibly smooth. Even these edges here that might appear at first glance a little bit sharp are actually nicely knocked down. It's just wonderful. You can see there's two little screws in there. I imagine they're going to be T6 holding this in, and then your pivot hardware is going to be underneath it. We have a nearly seamless transition into this beautiful fat carbon fiber is what he calls it. I'll give you another look at the card. Right there, it says scale fat carbon fiber. I'm not sure exactly how they make this. Jeff has shown me another knife that has the same type of stuff. I mean, it's exactly, I mean, as it describes, it's just chunky, fat layers of carbon fiber, and it looks really nice. I really like the contrast there. This knife is very busy. There's a lot going on. Some people really like that and some people don't. For me, when I see stuff like this on a custom knife, I like it because it's like, yeah, that makes sense, with this caliber of knife. If I were to see something like this on more of a budget style knife, while it might still really be, some people's thing, I don't like to see it as much. But on a knife like this, it's really cool to see like, oh, wow, we've got these lines and then transition here. Oh my gosh, we got something different. Oh, we got something different here. It's just cool. I really like that. You have two more little T6 body screws holding this scale on. This is all perfect. It's all perfectly flush with the liners and everything. Just beautiful. Take a look at that backspacer. Simple, but perfect. I mean, some people might have wanted something different. I really like how that backspacer looks. A lot of times I prefer like the gear pattern, but for whatever reason, that's just such an abrupt difference between what we're seeing up here. I just like it, especially in contrast with the dark tumbling we've got going on the titanium liners. Check out the underside of the relief cut down here. There's some interesting things going on right there. I'm not sure exactly what that's all about, but it's nice. It's just an interesting little touch there. Moving around here to the pocket clip, it is a true deep carry pocket clip. You can see the screw actually comes in on this side and it's hidden underneath the pocket clip. And then the head of that has been knocked down, so it's almost perfectly recessed. So you're not really going to be catching that in your pocket. Obviously, I didn't take this knife out and use it, but I did slip it in and out of my pocket. I can tell you the pocket clip is a tad underwhelming. In fact, it's the only thing on the knife that is underwhelming, but functionally it works. It's going to hold the knife completely deep in your pocket. And considering what this is and how much it costs, I'm appreciative of a pocket clip like that hides everything except for the clip. The clip's bill does stick up just a little bit, and in terms of use, you are definitely going to notice that. It's going to poke into your skin a little bit. It's also likely to catch, and it's not very thick, so it will probably bend out. Fortunately, if you really want to, you can get in there, pull that clip off, bend it back. But I don't know. The clip is the only thing on this knife that's underwhelming to me. Let me go ahead and clean this side off of it so you guys can get a look at this beautiful Damascus pivot collar that is in the same style as the front. You can see how perfectly executed that was. Some slight contouring. It's just raised ever so slightly, but it's flush with the non-show side of the pivot right there. It's just nice. This side of the knife is obviously there's a lot less going on, so it's nice to just see that little pivot collar there. It is obviously there's no room for it over here because you have the bolster. So it's just nice to see, when you flip the knife over, that you've got this nice little touch, because if that wasn't there, I mean, aside from the blade, you'd have a lot less going on. The frame lock is very easy to disengage. Curiously, it's ever so slightly raised. There's no real relief cut, but for whatever reason, it is still very easy to get in there and move it. It's ever so slightly lipped above the scale right there, so I suppose there was that taken into consideration. The knife is, of course, perfectly centered, and the lockup is coming in a nice solid roughly 40% or so. There's no blade play up, down, left, or right. On this guy, there's the stop pin right there. You can see we've got some pretty dramatic shouldering going on there. There's a lot of room for the blade to wrap all the way around that pivot collar, so it's going to be very durable. As far as people going, that are going to actually carry something like this, I mean, this would be a great little EDC. It's going to be a little bit chunky. It's definitely going to be more of a conversation piece than anything else. But yeah, these types of blades are definitely going to be good little cutters. They're going to do everything that you might ask of a folding knife throughout the day. But really, I mean, this is a full handmade custom knife. And for, this is a popular blade right now, this sort of cleaver style blade. And I think Jason Clark is one of the people out there doing this the best in terms of the custom knives. And he's been doing it for a while. But the blades that look like chisels, even though they are actually V-ground, that look like chisels, or that look like cleavers, or these razor style blades. I mean, they're cool. People like how they look, and they do actually have a lot of utility about them. But as far as everybody who's doing them right now, as far as the custom knife maker that I think is up there towards the top, if not right at the top, I think Jason Clark does it. On top of that, you're also getting an incredible quality piece. I don't know a lot about Jason Clark, but I've been seeing his name for a long time, and I know he's a popular knife maker. I think his prices are completely reasonable considering what you're getting here. His knives, there's one up right now on Blade HQ that's similar to this with some different materials, and it runs about $1,000, which is going to be, like I said, way too much for most people, including myself. But I think it's reasonable considering the competition in this range. Especially, what a lot of knife makers are charging for this type of steel, this type of bolster material, and this level of quality and fit and finish and materials all the way around is sometimes it's 2 to 3 times more than this. So I think it's very reasonable considering its competition. This type of knife, this exact knife, is going to run a little bit more. I want to say Jeff told me he spent something like, was it $1,200, something like that. Prices are going to vary, guys. Each one of these is going to be unique, or fairly unique, and pricing is going to change. Little things can change the amount of money that something like this costs. When you have a lot of different options. I've seen his razor wire Damascus. He obviously works with a lot of different types of exotic materials that you might have as an option if you were ordering direct from him, though I don't know if his books are open. You can definitely find his models on retailers that we all like to go to. This is just a fantastically beautiful knife all the way around, and I've really enjoyed having it, though I've been very cautious about getting it out and actually playing with it. I have had a lot of fun just handling it and just experiencing it. This is my first time experiencing a Jason Clark knife in hand, and I'm really happy that I got an opportunity to. It's really great to see that his work is just as good, if not better, than I would have imagined. So Jeff, thank you so much for letting me take a look at this. Guys, that's going to be pretty much it for today's overview. If you enjoyed this video, or at least found it entertaining, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on this Metal Complex logo right here and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.